of these meetings that I always, in the end of this colloquia, suggest to the audience that I resign on the presentation because there is no time and you are tight and so on. And the audience is always so kind as to convince me not to give up. But perhaps today it will be different. So I can resign, is it so? No. Are you sure?
Yes.
Wow, so what can I do? So, in that case, I will just read a very short comment on the paper, which appeared not only in the book, but like others also on the pages of the colloquium. So I would like to focus on two controversial points of my paper, and say a few words which I perhaps should have said in the text to make it more intelligent. By the 2 points, I mean the claim that entities, persons, places, and so on, from the actual world can very well become part of fictional worlds, and the claim that it does not belong to the nature of the fictional worlds and their inhabitants, they are incomplete. The opposite claims are well known and widely shared in this wonderful house, in this very room. And I think everything depends on the kind of questions to which the claims are supposed to give replies. So the framework within which we typically or often approach the completeness-incompleteness issue can be delineated by the question, what can the author do? What are the devices he can work with when construing the fictional world of his novel? And what can he achieve with that? In particular, when he uses such and such linguistic devices in such and such a way, what becomes fixed in the fictional world of his novel, and what remains indeterminate. But I think this is not the right choice of the framework. This question certainly makes good sense, but it should not be taken as basic in that sense that all other questions, like the one concerning completeness-incompleteness issue, should be asked within its scope. Rather, the basic question for me is, what kind of world is the reader supposed to imagine or think of in order to let the text do its job, so that the text can fulfill its literary functions for him or her? Is he supposed to imagine or believe that the inhabitants of that world are essentially incomplete, or that they are complete in precisely the same way we are? I think this is the right kind of question, but there is no general reply to it. It should be asked over and over again in connection with particular texts, and the reply is an important part of the interpretation enterprise. In case of the novels of Beckett's trilogy, I mentioned yesterday, the reply will be, certainly we are supposed to imagine, or rather to experience, the Beckettian worlds as essentially incomplete. It belongs to the nature of the world, of that world, that its inhabitants lack determining personal identity, and hence coherent biography. It is not determinate in that world that some person, for example the narrator, has been on certain place in certain time or not, and so on. These indeterminacies belong to the essential parameters of the world of Beckett's novels. They should not be understood as the signs of narrator's confusion or memory failures. That means the narrator is not construed as a confused person losing orientation in a perfectly ordered and determined world. On the other side, when you ask me about the fictional world of Balzac's novels, the reply is, Balzac's texts will fulfill their literary functions only if the interpreter thinks of their world as complete in precisely the same way in which the world he lives in is complete. For instance, the interpreter is supposed to assume that the number of Esther Gobsek's hairs, that's the example from the article, of Esther Gobsek's hairs in any particular moment of her life is either even or odd. If you ask me how this is determined, how the author succeeded to fix the number of her hairs for every moment of her life, my reply will be wrong question. We are speaking about how the buzzer text should be interpreted in order to be allowed to fulfill its literary functions. And the interpretation, the reading of the novel, does not include any inquiries concerning the author's possibilities and the repertoire of his instruments. The interpreter is supposed to take it that the number of Esther's hairs in every moment of her life is determined by precisely the same kind of factors that determine the number of his own, her own hairs. The inner dispositions, the state of one's health, some external factors. And if you continue raising odd questions and ask, but how the reader finds out what is the number of Esther's hairs in some moment he is interested in, the reply is, the reader is supposed to assume that this is one of the parameters of the world of the novel, which are determined but not cognitively accessible to him or her. He is supposed to take it that if he lived in that world and found himself in a suitable cognitive position, if he were on the right place in the right time, he could find out the truth. And if you ask, this time the right sort of question, what in the novel makes it the case that this is the right way of reading it? The reply is the way in which the story is being told. The events are presented as linked by causal chains precisely like in the actual world. The actions of the characters are presented as motivated in the way in which we construe our psychological explanations of actions of reality. Those actions and properties of the characters which are explicitly mentioned in the text are presented as grounded or anchored in the world of the novel in the same way in which lives and properties of actual people are anchored in reality. Natural conclusion is that we are supposed to assume that it is the same with the actions and properties which are not mentioned in the novel. This is certainly our natural inclination, and I do not see any reason why to resist it. In the same way, we should, I think, approach the issue of the overlaps between the fictional and the actual world. The right kind of question to be asked here is, will the text properly fulfill its literary functions if I presuppose that the character referred to as Napoleon, for instance, in the text, is identical with the French emperor about whom I have learned at school, and that the character did in the fictional world all those things the historical Napoleon did, even if they are not mentioned in the novel? My reply is yes, provided that the things are compatible with what is explicitly said or implied or implicated in the novel. It belongs to the emotional potential, to the pathos, and also to the irony of the famous scene of Tolstoy's War and Peace from the end of the battle at Austerlitz, that the interpreter thinks about the character referred to as Napoleon in the text as about a person who started as a poor boy from Corsica, became French emperor, died in exile, and so on. But now is looking at the almost dead body of Andrei Bolkonsky and says, what a wonderful death. Or something in that sense. All this, all the knowledge about historical Napoleon, which I can activate and exploit as a reader, is supposed to contribute to the literary effect of this scene. And when I visit the battlefield at Austerlitz, which is very easy because it's in this country, so then we can make a trip there and I can prove my claims on that my claims. So when I visit the battlefield at Austerlitz, it makes good sense for me to say, so somewhere here, Napoleon, the one whose bed I have seen in the Austerlitz castle, have seen, looked at the body of the almost dead Prince Bolkonsky and said, what a wonderful death. Or when I come to Parma,